All right, good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you're doing. Listen to this. I want to welcome you guys to the Recruiting Academy podcast, where we discuss everything dealing with ball, recruiting, and faith. I am your host, Coach Holman, joined by the beloved co-host, Coach Hughes. Man, Coach Hughes, you got a nugget of the day for us, man? Or
Well, yeah, I mean, we're talking about, like our podcast is, timing and making sure that we do what we're supposed to do. Here's one thing I'm going to tell you since I thought about it. We're going to talk about timing, right?
Yeah. At the end, we'll talk after one of our pre topics. But go ahead, Tommy. Go ahead, get into it, boss.
Okay, let me tell you this much. This is why you pay attention when stuff is due. So, like, if you get stuff from coaches, colleges, especially when you sign up for a college, because remember, you have to academically get in school before they can give you anything. And with all that, that's timing, getting your financial stuff situated, all of that. So you can wind up, hurting yourself by not reading the fine print of when things are due.
Hey, that is true, man. I know we got a quick, just quick, I don't want to say quick, but a character development topic or article that we were just touching on off camera about a former. We've been Ohio State heavy the last two segments, so I guess it's just might as well just keep going with Ohio State. But former player, Terrell Pryor was situation with his girlfriend where they were involved in domestic situation. So, Coach, you want to touch on that? Look, I'm going to give my personal thought and kind of how, at the end of the day, we can help athletes understand the educational piece behind this. But what do you have to touch on before I get into mine, man?
Well, I'll tell you one thing. Like this, like we were reading an article, this with Terrell Pryor, and this is the same girl that stabbed him. And, he got caught with a domestic. And, this is after football, but they still follow you after football. But the thing of it is that it's important. It is important to make sure that you're not in toxic relationships. And I'm going to tell you a story real quick that just came to my mind. Andre Rison, he was dating some girl that was a rap star. She burned his house down.
Is that the guy? Is that the guy from? That's not the guy from Atlanta Falcons, is it? Right?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, bro. Oh yeah. Oh girl. Oh yeah. Oh. Well,
yeah, that's through the time of like
thing here. But yeah, I remember that situation. That was the girl from TLC. I remember that as a kid. I lived in I think I was in Atlanta at the time when that happened. That was like in the late '90s, early 2000s, maybe something like that.
Yeah, I think they're running the run and shoot, and Deion Sanders and all them were there, and.
Okay, maybe.
Yeah, so we look at the early '90s, mid '90s.
Okay. Yeah, I was alive at that point. Yeah. Wow. Yeah. Go ahead. Continue the story. Yeah.
Yeah. So like, she burned his house down. So like they get into these like crazy relationships that, which you have to watch because now there's a zero tolerance. So, so it's important to really watch who you hang out with and what you do and how you do it. And we ran across this article with Terrell Pryor. And I don't know if he's dating her through his career or not, but the thing of it is that you really got to watch what you do and make sure that you have good character. I just read Steve Young's biography, and he talked about how he was Mormon. He played at BYU. But he was going to get married and he canceled his wedding because she was not the right one. And he was very conscious of his relationships and his behavior for the simple reason of being a Mormon and his faith in Christ. Mm-hmm. So I'm not telling everyone to run out and, become a priest. I'm just telling you that, hey, you're going to have to make some decisions and you're going to have to make good ones because anymore, one slip up, you're done.
Absolutely.
You're done.
No, absolutely. No, that's a key point that you touched on there, man. I actually just pulled up the story really quick. I think it happened in 1994. So I was 2 years old at that time.
Okay.
Telling my age, but But no, man. You bring up you hit a huge point, man. You said toxic relationships, and we're not a relationship podcast. We talk about relationships, but man, that's a sound piece of advice that anybody, no matter if you play sports or not, being in a toxic relationship. So you look at the situation. You look at the situation with there was a situation with Ray Rice, and there's been a couple of athletes, right? I know we're talking about football, but there's all across any sport, right? There's been situations where there's been toxic relationships. Sometimes it's been the spouse. Sometimes it's been it's been the athlete. Sometimes it's been the spouse of the athlete, right? Or a fiance or whoever the athlete, right? So this thing works both sides, but a lot of these professional teams, organizations have a zero tolerance for domestic violence. So we're more so touching the point to educate athletes to understand, like, man, you have to be very, very cautious, right? We talked last week or whatever ago about, when you have certain level of status, you have, two type of people that are around you, right? You have people that want that the term I use, I can't remember the term, Coach Hughes. I think I said the people that want to be around you, and then there's people that want to be around you because they want to be around. You know what I'm saying? So that might have been.
They use your social, they use your social status.
Yeah.
So they like you socially because of who you are.
Yeah.
And I know, like, you probably went through a lot of that in Columbus.
I didn't go through too much, but yeah, it was there. It could have potentially really like boom. But I was more so of a reserved guy at that time. But yeah, to your point, man, there's situations like that go on a lot on college campuses where you have people around you because of your social status. And a lot of times those people are with you because of what you have more so than who you are, right? They say, okay, like, hey, you give me the opportunity to get this out of life and have some part of access to success. I'm gonna go with you, but then also understand that those people that come along with you, like, if they may cause a trouble situation, but guess what? Like, they're nobody. That comes back and affects you as a player, as a person. As a young adult, for some of you that'll be transitioning into college here soon, it comes back on you, right? And it's nothing that that hurts more when, like, you did everything that you were supposed to do, but then somebody that's in your camp, that's in your circle, that's in your organization, whatever it may be, does something which people are gonna come back and say, well, hey, I know you had nothing to do with this, but this person hangs out with you, right? So what would they say? Guilty by affiliation, what they call it, or something like that, whatever that may be. So just be mindful, athletes. Just Coach Hughes made probably a huge point there. The situation with toxic relationships. I would be lying if I said I've never been in a toxic relationship. That's why when you said the word toxic, I said, my God. That is a point of reference. So yeah, I have been in a situation in a toxic relationship where the thing could have definitely spiraled out of the atmosphere, right? But I knew if I reacted to the situation in a negative way, what could happen, right? So I removed myself from that situation and from that relationship and said, I cannot put myself or my life in danger or risk the opportunity that I wanted to have at the time of obviously going on and playing beyond college, man. So you bring up a huge point there, huge point. So athletes, please understand, man, that you have to take notice and be very, very mindful of the relationship that you're in. I'm gonna say that, hey, listen, man, I don't know if you ever heard this song, man, but it's called Love is Blind. You ever heard that song, Doc?
I don't know.
No, okay, you should check it out. Her name is Eve, and it's spelled EVE. She had a song called "Love Is Blind," and the lyrics go, "Love is blind, and it'll take over your mind." And that's literally what happens a lot of times in these relationships. That love is blind, man. Love is blind. Love is also a blessing, but it's also blind a lot of times. So, man, don't be so blind to the fact that you're in an abusive relationship, in a toxic relationship. Seek help. Have conversations with family and friends. I know a lot of times, like I said, love is blind. You get so far intact, and you think, oh, maybe this is what love is. Me and the abusive relationship. Or I'm the one, or I'm the abuser, right? This is how, and it's a lot of times, man, we could get into a whole different podcast here, man. A lot of times going back to some type of trauma that they dealt with as a kid, maybe growing up in a situation where they saw abuse or they got abused, right? Or in a situation, they saw somebody being abused, physical abuse, or they saw someone abusing somebody else in their family, man. So, and they just, a kid is traumatized. And you got to think, like, a lot of times, the first time a kid is exposed to relationships is by who? Jason, got to guess?
By parents.
Bingo, right? By their parents, yeah. Right? So you got to think that, okay, the first time they see, like, people kissing or people hugging or people, close together, lovey-dovey, or they see abuse, a lot of times is, from their parents, right? They see it from the situation of their parents. So it's very, very important, man. Athletes, parents, just be mindful of who's watching, right? Parents, who's watching, right? Your kids are watching the situation, right? If you and your spouse are having a difficult time in a situation, have the kids go, play at grandma's house or, go somewhere else out of the house, and you guys have that discussion. Hopefully there's no abuse going on, but make sure, you don't expose those kids to those things, man, because it's one of those things. Have a conversation with the kids about it as well. But just, it could be a bad deal, because the first time they see that or they experience that is in the household, and that can make them traumatized and think, oh, okay, this is how, you should handle a situation between you and your spouse, or you and your girlfriend, or you and your boyfriend, or whatever it may be, and a lot of stuff. And culture has a little bit part of doing that as well, man, with some of these wicked TV shows that we got on TV, man. When, somebody gets mad, they're breaking out somebody's window, throwing pumpkins at their cars, and all this crazy stuff, man. So just be mindful of your gateways and what you're feeding yourself, the stuff you're smelling, stuff you're watching, the stuff you're hearing, because, man, it could be, sheesh, man, it could be crazy at the end of the day, man. Anything else to add on the top before we change gears here, Coach Hughes?
Yeah, because one thing with this is, like, because I taught little kids like K-4, and the one thing they do is that they'll go to school and they'll mimic what they see in the morning. So we always knew, like, who read the paper, who yelled, whatever, because they mimic it, because they don't know any better. So, and that's the one thing, a lot of these kids grow up and then, and they see this stuff. And, the other thing is too, like, when you choose your friends wisely, I just wanted to throw this in real fast, is, read about Sean Taylor. I mean, Sean killed, and that was a friend of a friend. So, I mean, yeah, you just really got to watch what you do and who you hang out with.
No, man, yeah, man. You brought up I when you asked about, hey, can we do this? I was like, yeah, sure, let's make it educational. But now, we got into it, man. That I could close the podcast out there and call it a day and give people opportunity to reminisce and think about it. But man, that's a key point. When we talk about the business of college athletics, you have a lot of situations like that go on college campuses, man. But to change gears here and get into one of another topics that is important when we're dealing with the business of college athletics is timing, right? And you might say, well, Coach Holman, why are we talking about timing in regards to college athletics? So I know a lot of times you want to go to your dream school or you got an offer. And these offers that a lot of these kids are getting are verbal offers. Like coach said, okay, I'm going to offer you a scholarship. It is verbal until they send you a handwritten letter, like with, this is your official letter. And you do not get that until August 1st of your senior year, right? So a kid can have 40 offers. He's not getting 40 official offers because if he's kept with 40 schools on the line for that long, they've gone on and figured out. So let me say this to help parents and athletes understand. Like they offer, so they only can bring in 25 kids per class. Okay, I think up to 25. They may be extending that because I know they got a new rule ready to come out that if anybody transfer, they can add an extra kid to their recruiting class. So let me say this: understand that they can bring in 25. I think the max they can bring in right now is 25 kids, I believe. That's probably going to change here about time this video goes viral someday. But at this point, you gotta understand. But they're gonna offer way more than 25. Okay, they're gonna offer sometimes double, sometimes triple that number because they know like it's a game that a kid one day. I remember when I was going through my recruiting process, bro. One day I was on this school, the next day I was on this school, the next day I was on that school, then the next day I come back to the school that I was on at first, and I just kept going, right? And I just was like, man, I don't know where I want to go. Like, I can't really, right? And the thing is, it's a business, right? And schools can't wait around for you to make your decision because they're like, yo, we have a need. We need to address our need. Like, we offered you, but then we offer 3 other offensive linemen or 4 or 5 other offensive linemen. Like, you're our top guy, but like, if you wait too long, like, and the other guys that got offered, like they decided to commit, like, bro, and we only needed 3 of you guys, but we offered 5 of you guys. Like, once they get their 3, like, yo, bro, we love you, we appreciate you, but hey, we're full, and we're on to the next, right? So timing is a key piece because a lot of times, as me and Coach Hughes were talking off camera, a situation can happen where, they decide, maybe each year they bring in 5 offensive linemen, right? They offer 5 guys, but then they decide, okay, hey, we actually need to go get another wide receiver. We lost a guy because he transferred. We lost a guy because of injury, whatever it may be, couple transfers, whatever it may be. We need to take a scholarship away from the 5 offensive linemen and give it to the wide receiver. We're only bringing in 4, right? So, Coach, I know you want to touch on the story that you had a situation with a kid. Go ahead and explain that to the people, and I'll jump back and finish this thing out and then close this out here, man.
I was working with a kid that he's a linebacker, and the school offered 2 scholarships, but come to find out they only wanted 1. So this kid wound up going to UC instead of Michigan, but up in Michigan. But that happens, I mean, they have an idea what they want. And here's the other thing too, is if this is a business, which it is for a lot of these coaches, if you're in line to be a linebacker, for example, and for some reason a 5-star from Texas decides to start over, they're going to take that 5-star kid. So basically they're going to go down to 1 linebacker to get this other kid. So, you need to find out where you need to go and make sure it's a done deal before you pack your bags and move up to campus. And the other thing is too, and I've seen this too, is the fact that, like, and I think I've explained this too, is like at Harvard and some of these schools with like the demanding GPAs, a kid flunks his test and then they have to get the second string. So again, that's timing. And here they've met you at a camp and they're like, yeah, we know who you are because you're at this camp. And they're more than glad to take you because schools now are starting to become more academic stringent in some areas. So and that's another thing too. I mean, you might beat out a kid that's carrying a 3.0 and you got that 3.5. But, you got to have the timing and the different things to be there. So, that's what I've been through with it. But it's a business, I mean, I get it.
Yeah, and the thing to touch on, man, it's so many situations where a kid said, "Oh yeah, oh man, I had a client. I can share the school. I'm transparent. Listen, transparent. So I had a kid that got offered. Oh man, offer from Youngstown State, bro. Youngstown. And long story short, they ended up pulling the offer because they said this was during COVID too. A lot of kids could come back. You know what I'm saying? The kid that they thought was going to leave actually decided to stay or stay another year or whatever it may be. And it just, man, so the kid had to go to a D2 school. It still worked out, but it was the fact that, like, he had his first big offer, right? And it got pulled for the fact that, they wanted to go in a different direction in regards to, his kid is. So timing is key, man. Timing is key. So the takeaway from this, you may be a kid right now, any sport you're playing, maybe a kid right now, and you're not getting into the school that you're getting into. So you have a couple different options here. Okay. So one of the things that you hear about a lot of days, a lot of people are doing is reclassing. Okay. Now, the only time I suggest you to reclass if it's a situation where you've been talking to a coach and they're like, yo, we really want to offer you, but we don't have enough scholarships this year. Okay. And then you should rebuttal and say, well, coach, I would actually reclass if you're saying that I would have a shot if I came in a year later, or maybe came in, in football terms, I talk about coming in mid-semester or mid-year. They're more likely to offer a kid if he can come in mid-year, because then they have a lot of guys that were on scholarship that are gone now, and they're getting ready to go to spring practice, and they need to have a certain amount of scholarship guys on the roster to go through spring practice. As an example. So that could be a situation where you say, okay, hey, coach, I'm willing to reclass if there's an opportunity that may be coming, because they decided, they typically bring in 5 scholarship linemen, but this year they decided that I had one to wide receiver, and they said, hey, we usually bring in, 3 goalies, but we're only gonna bring in 2 this year. And you would have been, this year would have been a year for you to be that 3rd goalie on their list. You're a point guard. They bring in 2 point guards a year. They said we're not bringing in no point guards. We're gonna bring in 2 centers because we're changing our offense. 2 shooting guards or 3s or whatever, 1s, 2s, 3s, whatever we want to call them. Any sport may be. So then that's a situation you can rebuttal and say, okay, so well, coach, if I reclass, will you offer me an opportunity? And a lot of times, if it's for real, if he's for real, she's for real, they'll say, yeah, I'll go and offer you a scholarship right now if you come back, if you reclass. And a lot of times, they used to do this anyway back in the day. They used to send them to, you remember Fort Union, Virginia, the military academies. You remember, it's still around, Fort Union. They used to send these kids to the prep school and have them stay there for a year, because the clock, that doesn't count against their clock, right? It doesn't count against their clock. Reclassing doesn't count against their clock. So if they go to a prep school, post-grad, it doesn't count against their clock. They reclass and that counts against their clock. Now, the other options go to people call it JUCO, but it's actually considered it's now called a junior community college, but some people, they call it JUCO. Other option is to go to a junior college, go there and participate. But the thing is, when you go to a JUCO, you need to make sure that you communicate to all coaches, hey, coach, my recruiting didn't work out, or I need more film, I need more grade, I need to get my grades. I'm headed to this community college. I'll be there maybe a year, maybe a semester, because I'm gonna be a mid-year guy. I'm gonna go there and play football, basketball, lacrosse, tennis, whatever sport you play. And then I'm coming out right after that. Have that conversation prior, so a coach knows, okay, hey, we got an opportunity available for you. So then that way you can be in position to capitalize. Don't just say you're going to a JUCO and you have not. And the same thing with a prep. If you decide to go reclass, go to a prep school, Like, you need to go ahead and start communicating all that stuff, or you're gonna be in the same situation. Listen, I got a kid right now that I know. He's not my client. I just know him. I know his family today. He literally went to IMG. Okay, he went as a post grad guy. So I was like, okay, you going to IMG? That's fantastic. Congratulations. I'm proud of you, bro. Okay, but when you go there and you're participating in that post grad thing, have you communicated to schools that you're going there and that you're doing this X, Y, and Z? The answer is no. So guess what? Like, they're probably gonna see this podcast at some point in time. You wasted your money. Okay, it's simple as that. You wasted your money. So don't waste time, energy, and money to go to, the IMG is world. Listen, shout out to IMG. We having our camp there in December. All right, nothing wrong with IMG. But I'm saying, if you don't go there and use it as a marketing tool, like, you better be telling schools, hey, I'm going there. I'll be there out in December. Blase, X, Y, and Z. Like, bro, don't wait. Like, tell them soon you find out. Like, you going there, or you going JUCO, whatever it be. Have that communication with those colleges so then they know they can come and find you somewhere. You got anything to add there, Coach Hughes?
I was just going to say, hey, it's important to watch the schools that you want to go to, because it's transfer portal thing too. I mean, you can talk about timing. You might want to go to, I don't know, Mississippi or Mississippi State, and you're like, well, they just told me that I don't have a room, but then, I have no room to play. But then you just read that, they had these kids transfer out. So, or it could be the other way around, where, like, you're planning on going to, like, let's say Miami of Oxford down here in Ohio, and a bunch of kids transferred in. So chances are you may not be getting that scholarship because they're going to take the transfer. So you really need to watch, that transfer portal, and watch the schools you want to go to for that reason.
Man, that's to the point, man. People don't understand, man. I'm gonna wait till the last minute. Sorry, don't listen. Listen, if you want to wait till the last minute, I'm gonna tell you right now. Don't come talk to me, Coach Hughes, about going Division I or something like that. I know obviously there's situations where that's case by case, but, like, you gotta understand, you're dealing with a whole different monster. Like, transfer portal is like the NFL, like, where you have or like any college sport, where you basically now have the opportunity to handpick a kid and bring him in as a free agent. Like, he's already been playing, or you might have missed him out. You might have missed out on recruiting. Now you have another chance as a coach to recruit the kid and bring the kid in. Please don't be that kid. Please don't be that kid that waits to the last minute, that waits till your junior or senior to say, hey, I want to start taking recruiting serious, or college serious. Every kid has an idea. Every kid has an idea when they come middle school, freshman, sophomore. They have an idea if they want to go play college football. Now, I know there's a situation where some kids that come on late. I respect that. I understand that. But just know it's going to be an uphill battle. And I mean, you got an uphill battle with a 40-pound vest on, pulling a one-ton boulder up a hill, man. So, man, that's it, man. That wraps it up, man. Make sure you guys head over to our over to the website, get information on recruiting, consultant, film breakdown, and camps as well. Head over to www.holmanathleticperformance.com right now. Don't miss out on an opportunity. Again, head over to www.holmanathleticperformance.com today to get more information on recruiting, camps. Check out me and Coach Hughes spent this summer putting together a active worksheet that goes along with the Recruiting Academy online video course that allows you to put yourself in position to earn scholarships. So make sure you guys take a hold of that thing. Anything else, Coach, before we get out of here, man?
No. This was a a bunch of information, a lot Absolutely. Of good information podcast. So
absolutely, Coach Hughes ain't said this in a while, but hey, make sure you guys do your homework. All right, God bless you guys next week. Peace.